Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're diving into the world of polka dots, specifically to take a look at the dot price action. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done and out of the way, let's dive right down into this chart to take a look at what's going on with Polkadot. As we can see, this is our daily chart. We are paired up with USDT, and Binance is our data source. We have got a Fibonacci retracement tool on here, taking the high from the 15th of May down to the low that was achieved down here on the 20th of July. Okay, so taking into consideration that performance, we can see $177 being the peak of where we think Polkadot is likely to go during this bull run. So as things go parabolic in the next kind of leg to the upside, that's kind of where we see things ending, okay? So timing's usually the hardest thing to gauge, but I'd anticipate this is likely to be around the end of December or beginning of the new year, right? You know, end January, February, around that kind of timeline, okay? But obviously we'll analyze things, how they're progressing. First of all, Bitcoin goes and then altcoins will follow after. So overall, we're looking pretty good, right? We've had a good kind of push back to the upside in recovery from this downside here. The interesting things that are, going on is basically getting through this area just down here, right? So this area comes in at $24 through to the high of 27, okay? So really entering this area, finding the upper resistance, putting back down and then breaking through it. Now, we found resistance just up here. Now, Bitcoin was obviously volatile during the month of September. So we started to see ourselves get pulled right the way back down into this other buying zone just at the bottom. And we would rally back up, this time pushing past the 618 up to the 702 before getting rejected and pulled back down towards our 382 area of the chart, $25, right? And basically, we just kept bouncing around. Right now, we're back up at resistance levels of the 618. This comes in at $34.75, okay? So that's the resistance that we're currently fighting up against right now. With that being said, though, I think this is a short-term piece of resistance that we're going to work our way through, and then we should be looking to target the 702 and the 786, getting the closed candle above $41.37. Getting that closed candle just above that area, preferably a weekly, is a big bull flag that will take us to our first price target, which is the 1.618 at $74, okay? But obviously to get there, we have got a little bit of progress first to get through. Now, I do anticipate Bitcoin surging past its areas of resistance, which will then obviously lead the rest of the crypto space to heights of their own, right? So for Polkadot here, I do anticipate the ecosystem starting to liven up. We've seen an inbox full of promotional offers to try to talk about various different things that are happening on the Polkadot ecosystem. Obviously, we don't just jump on any old project, so we are looking at each of them carefully to see exactly what these projects are about, what they're actually adding value-wise to the community, all that kind of good stuff. Whether or not we'll actually do any promo content, I don't know. But the main point I'm making here is that ultimately, if we're seeing an influx of projects wanting to promote their protocols or their tokens on the Polkadot ecosystem, then you can bet that half a dozen or a dozen other YouTubers are also seeing very similar offers in their inboxes, which means some of these other YouTubers or other influencers across various different platforms are likely to start talking about this in a really big way in the coming weeks. And therefore, I do anticipate a huge surge for DOT overall, right, as the ecosystem starts to liven up. So this is pretty interesting kind of things to kind of see how things kind of progress right now. Obviously, finding this resistance at a critical point could mean a small pullback before we actually go ahead and surge to the next levels. Now, at this point, I'm going to bring up the Aave Dashboard just to talk about what is going on with the underlying data for Polkadot, right? So Polkadot here has an overall rating of B1. So if you're not familiar with Aave, then check out the description down below. Do sign up completely free, and you'll be able to understand what's going on behind the scenes of cryptocurrencies, right? This is an artificial intelligence machine learning-led platform that basically helps you understand the underlying value of a cryptocurrency by telling you more detail like liquidity-based problems or indicating whether the sentiment is fearful or greedy. for the specific project rather than just a generalized Bitcoin fear and greed index. You can also see the risk reward ratio, your moving averages, your profitability. The platform has a lot of things it covers, and it's well worth signing up specifically because it gives you a lot more detail than you probably see just from regular charts. Now here over the B1 rating, we go down into the detail. We can see the 𝗕𝗓𝗓 ratio is an A2. 𝗕𝗓𝗓 is your liquidity. A2 is indicating the second best rating. No problems with liquidity. So big tick there. You don't have to worry about it. Moving on, we have a fear and greed index. This is a C3. This is actually on the lower scale, right? We finish the grades at D, and therefore a rating of C3 is indicating some serious fear in the space for Polkadot. I think this is short term though, and I do think that ultimately that sentiment is going to shift and change in the coming days and weeks, and this is actually going to be becoming more greedy. This is exactly what you're seeing with Bitcoin right now. Only a few days ago it was a rating of D, and now it's all the way up at B1. So overall, I do think that the fear and greed index, although it's indicating there is fear right now, I do anticipate some small time selling, and there's an opportunity in this for people who are wise to what is going on in the space to buy up that fear. Okay, so right now a fear and greed index at C3. As we come down, we have a Sharpe ratio. The Sharpe ratio is your risk reward ratio. This is an A2, well above the 50-day average. The risks to holding Polkadot right now is actually very limited. It's actually indicating that there are higher rewards at play here than the risks that are associated with it. Therefore, investing in Polkadot might not be a bad idea. Obviously, Aave is not offering financial advice. I'm not offering financial advice, nor is Chris. So it's important that you do your own research. But how I interpret this data, it's very clear to me that we have a risk-reward ratio that's in your favor to say, actually, you might want to hold Polkadot. And then you're seeing a fear and greed index with people wanting to sell Polkadot because they don't understand what's going on, and they're succumbing to some of the narratives that you see out in the space, some of the FUD and various different things, right? And as a result, you're able to buy that fear knowing that everything's looking pretty good longer term. And as a result, you have a Sharpe ratio that's in your favor, you have good liquidity, you have good moving averages, you have a good A1 rating for profitability, you've got a B2 rating for a peak end value demand. The only metric that is out of place is the fear, and the fear is basically irrational, it's emotional, and here you can take advantage of it. That's how I'm reading this. So for Polkadot right now, everything's looking pretty good, but we do expect a small pullback, and that's the opportunity, right? So when we jump back into our chart here and we jump down into our hourly chart, okay, we just expand this up. Let me just get rid of that for a second. Here we go, right. So here we can see that we are pushing right up against that 618, right? So we can see that we found good support just down here on $31.21. We then get this surge to the upside, finding the resistance up at the 618 area of the chart. This comes in at $34.79. Okay, so finding that resistance, knowing that we were overbought and we're already pulling that stochastic to the downside. Okay, so we're pulling the stochastic, we're losing that momentum when that's the fear in the space, so do anticipate a small pullback. Looking to kind of find support probably down here at about $33.13. I'm going to just quickly mark that up with a horizontal ray. Let me just grab that and drop it right about there. There we go. And then I'm just going to quickly mark this with an orange. That's where I anticipate us falling down to. Now, if I actually throw the volume on here, you can see the volume surging up, bringing the price of DOT to the upside. And now we are looking to bring the price of DOT down. Okay, looking to find support on $33.13 if we can. If not, then the support of $31.21 as we lower our stochastic. Bring us down to an oversold area and then a good surge to the upside. Now, the good news is we've already dropped that volume, right? So although there's fear in the space, there's not a lot of selling pressure right now, which is good to see. That means we're protecting the price just up here. So pulling back only to $33.13 seems like a pretty sensible area. That could then take us into and past the 618, going to the 702. That 702 area would be approximately around that $37 range. $37 to $38 range, and finding that resistance just up there before pushing up to the 786. Okay, getting that closed candle above $41.50 is going to be a pretty good place to actually place us. Okay, so overall, I do expect some small time volatility on the hourly chart just to see this get small correction here, push back up, push up into the 702, so past the 618 into the 702, and then try to take out that 786. In doing so, we'll see a pretty good surge to the upside overall, where we do then talk about all-time highs, and of course, going into that full 4.236 extension by the peak of the bull run with $177 Polkadot valuation, which is pretty cool for early adopters of this particular protocol. So overall, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, then do go ahead and hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.